So today we're going to go ahead and upgrade the setup for the truck. I've been rolling around with the same basic setup for a while and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of falling apart and it's kind of getting all over the place. But just the generator, power reel, Ryobi modified IBC tank, and my reel. But the problem is this reel here, it's this MDF board is all broken up. Didn't last very long, lasted for a couple of months. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be replacing this board, getting rid of this. And I actually found this board here, which is it's tile floor backboard, and it's thin, it's lightweight, but it's strong, and waterproof. That's the most important part. It is waterproof. So I'm going to replace the MDF board that I have here with this waterproof board, and just kind of rearrange the things that I have going on here. I'll probably move everything to one side so it's not all over the place. Also have some storage coming for my products so I can get them out of the truck and actually keep them in the bed here, because I'm constantly in the truck and in the bed and in the truck and in the bed, going back and forth grabbing my products, and waste a lot of time on my details. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna move all of this out of the way and get this board in, mock up where I'm gonna put everything before I start mounting it. Yeah, so you might see it here, but MDF was definitely not the way to go for me. Gross. I mean, it sunk in, it corroded. Yeah, so we're definitely getting rid of this and putting the new board in place. And I'm just hoping that that works out better. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but that old board is very heavy. So because I actually want to use the bed of my truck for other things sometimes, it's going to be nice to easily get everything out and put it back in between details. Because yeah, definitely do haul for a lot of projects and other things like that. All right, so I'm first gonna clean all of this out of here. You might have noticed there's a bunch of scratches and stuff in the bed. I was never really worried about that because eventually I'm gonna do a rhino liner in this bed, maybe another month or so. I'll record that on the channel as well. DIY process, but that involves an air compressor. So if you don't have an air compressor, you can either go with the rattle can option, but I'll be definitely going with the air compressed option. I also need to get a hose reel for that hose right there, but I've been kind of procrastinating on that because I don't really want to fill up the truck with a bunch of reels. But I definitely do use that hose about every day to fill up this tank. So I will be getting a hose reel for that one. Okay, so now that the truck bed's cleaned out, I'm gonna go ahead and get this board, put it in here, and kind of see where I want to put things before I mount anything up. I'm thinking about either keeping it all the way to the right or all the way to the left. In that case, because I have the wheel arches there, I'm probably gonna have to cut out a piece or two, but we'll see when we get there. After sliding this in here, I realized that it sits perfectly in between those wheel arches. So I may have everything centered instead of off to one side. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll test it and find out. Because I also have storage coming for my product that I'm going to keep back here as well. And it kind of spans the entire width of the bed. So I don't really want to put everything in the middle and then not have space for my product, my rags, and things alike. One thing I do know for sure is this pressure washer has to go on that side because that hose there that connects to this pressure washer with a quick connect is very short. I mean, I guess I could extend it, but I want it to be as condensed as possible. So obviously I'm not gonna do that. But anyway, this pressure washer is not getting mounted to the board anyway, just because that requires extensive modification of this pressure washer. It wasn't exactly made for that, and I'm not going to modify it, even though I modify just about anything and everything that I can. This handle right here gets in the way quite often, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and remove this. Okay, so the pressure washer is definitely staying in that spot. So since that's where the pressure washer is gonna be, that allows me to set up where the reel is going to be, because the reel actually has a short hose. It's only a 2-foot hose from the reel to connect from the reel to the pressure washer. So those two have to be together. Okay, so I think I'm happy with where that is. I did loop the hole from the reels to the pressure washer around just to make it a little closer, and I didn't want to tight bend, so a loop would have been better than just bending the hose. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and figure out where I want the generator and the power reel to be. Okay, so I think this will be just fine for me. The only thing is the pull cord for the generator is on that side. So I would have to move the generator every time I need to start it, which isn't really that big of a deal because I'm not mounting the generator because it doesn't really move. It's heavy enough that it stays in place on its own. And especially this surface is not smooth. It's very grippy, so I don't think I'll have any issues with the generator moving around. The only other thing I'm worried about is when my storage container comes for my product is if I put it here and it's mounted this way, then I don't really have room for my vacuum. So yeah, let me grab the vacuum and actually see where it fits best. Okay, so here's the other issue that I run into. The vacuum is tall, so it can't stand up in the bed, at least not while the bed cover is closed. It has to lay down. So I tried to push everything back as far as I could to see if I could get it to fit here where the bed closed, but it's just not gonna work. The other option is to carry it in the truck when I need to, but again, that's not ideal. I have passengers. I have a wife, I have a daughter. They have to be able to sit comfortably in the truck and not have to worry about my equipment being everywhere, which is the whole point of me rearranging and redoing this setup. So I'm gonna play around with it for a few more minutes and see if I can come up with something better. Okay, so I'm thinking something like this might work. Moving the hose reel forward allows it to still close and the vacuum to just rest in between the reel and the pressure washer. The other thing is this. I mean, I have room here for the storage and it's, you know, kind of long. I don't have that many products to carry around with me. Just my basic necessities. Most of it is a few spray bottles and, you know, my wash mitts, my foam cannon and things like that. But I also have some space here as well. So I guess it kind of gives me the option to mount everything, you know, long ways or width ways. That should be showing up right around in about an hour or so. So I think I'm gonna leave this where it is right now and then come back once my storage system for my equipment, my products to show up, and just kind of mock it in here to see exactly where I'm gonna put everything else. So if that works out, we're gonna keep this set up and keep moving. So I will be back in a couple of hours. It'll be a couple seconds for you guys, but yeah. Okay, so the packages just showed up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these unpacked so we can get it installed into the truck here. So this is the storage system I decided to go with here. It's let's get that focus. So it's collapsible, has different sections. It's about 35 inches long, 17 inches deep. More than enough space for me to go ahead and keep all of my products and materials in there instead of keeping them under the seat in the back of the truck, especially with those bottles. Some of those bottles don't have a great seal at the top, so when those bottles are not standing upright, they're leaned over, sometimes they fall over, product spills, and as you guys know, this product can be pretty expensive sometimes. So hopefully this helps me clear things up. I also got a second polisher just in case My first one goes out. Now, as far as the setup goes, while I was waiting for this to show up, I actually did take a look at the measurements of the storage system itself again to make sure that it was going to fit. And I decided to go ahead and put everything in a line the way you see it here now, because it gives me enough space here and here. It'll probably end right where the generator is, going all the way over, and still give me room to keep the vacuum in there. I don't really mind having to reach over the storage system to grab my hose reel or grab my power reel. I know that may seem like an inconvenience for some people, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference to me. What really matters is being able to get to my rags and my spray bottles, everything that I need for the detail easier. So I don't want to have to get in and out of the bed to get those things. So the reels definitely can stay back there and all the products can be up front. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all set up, and I'm going to start moving the stuff from the truck into the storage system. Now, it does come with all these different dividers. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually use all of these, but what's nice is everything is held in by Velcro, and there are long strips of Velcro on the inside. So I can actually mount these dividers where I want. They're not in a single spot. So I think what I'm going to do, instead of just putting these dividers in there, I'm going to start loading my product into here so I can kind of see where I want those dividers to be. So I took everything out to give you an idea of just how much was actually in the back of the truck. All of this I was storing under the back seats of the Ram, which is pretty impressive actually. The Ram 1500 has a lot of storage back there, but it was just not ideal for getting what I needed when I needed it. All of my microfiber towels, drying towels, mitts, my cleaners, spray bottles, everything, brushes, tips, my mini polisher, camera. The only thing is I'm going to keep the mini polisher under the seat back there. There's no need for me to actually put that in here. It's in a case, it's compact enough. Obviously, as well as my camera, I do take professional photos of all the vehicles that I detail. So I always have my camera with me on those details. But just about everything else here is going in this storage system. So my wash media already takes up half of the space. I could make it more efficient by stacking my microfiber towels on top of each other, but the thing is my microfibers are color coded. So I don't want to have to dig around in there to find the right color based on what I'm detailing on the vehicle. I'd rather just go in and grab one and not have to dig through it. So I'm going to try to fit all of these products in these spray bottles on the other side. So in that original shot that I showed with all my products lined up, I forgot to show my foam cannon. Foam cannon that I have here is actually the Tool Daily foam cannon. And I have this neat little Tool Daily switcher here because one of the most time consuming things for me is constantly switching back and forth between my foam cannon and my spray nozzle. So this gives me a valve, a little switch here that I can push up and down to switch between the two. So I never have to worry about constantly disconnecting this. I can just switch back and forth. Easy, whenever I want. Saves me so much time. So my gloves were under there too, and this box is completely falling apart. Luckily, this thing has so many different compartments around the side. I'm actually gonna go ahead and get rid of this box and just put all the gloves in one of these compartments, probably on the back end. Or actually, the bag, I'll put these, Nope, I have one right here. I forgot. I moved my clay media to the side, so I'm gonna go ahead and put all the gloves here. Okay, so it actually did fit everything that I had sitting back there, which is great. Kind of surprising, and I still have a little more room to go ahead and stock up on some more towels. A neat thing about this, it has these straps here that you can use to anchor to either side of the bed to keep it from shifting back and forth. Obviously, I'm not going to use it here because the vacuum is going to sit there when I'm traveling back and forth. But on this side, I do have it mounted right up in there. So at least, you know, if for whatever reason I take a hard turn, the bag's not going to go flying. Again, the surface is pretty grippy, so I don't think that would have been a problem to begin with, but better safe than sorry. But yeah, everything fits. It works out, and it's going to make a night and day difference. I can already tell. I have access to everything that I need from the bed of the truck. I no longer have to go into the back of the truck to get the things that I need on my detail. This is going to make things so much easier. On another note, my mini polisher is in the truck. I'm going to go ahead and unbox this, and I think I'm going to keep it in the truck as well. But looking at this handle here, it's kind of bulky, so I'll probably keep it back here. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead and unbox it and see what I'm gonna do. Again, this is my backup polisher. It may become my main polisher because I do like the rotary versus the DA. So the DA may become my backup polisher, and this might become my main polisher. So one thing to note, this polisher does come with some flat pads, which I'm not really a fan of, but they also did include this waffle pad. If I even use these pads, I'm going to use this one and probably get rid of these, but it also has this wool pad here. I think I'll go ahead and give this a try. My wife's car does need a serious paint correction, and it's black. She used to take it through those automatic car washes with the spinning bristles before I met her. She doesn't do that anymore, obviously, because I told her not to. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and test this out on her car, and I'll also upload that as well. So I didn't notice this before, but this actually comes with the D handle and the side handle. I'm most likely gonna get rid of this and only use the side handles, just personal preference. If I can, I'll try it. I'll opt for no handle and hold it just like this. But again, we'll see how it goes. This one is definitely a little more hefty than the one that I currently have in the truck. So I realized too that I don't necessarily have a place for my pads, so those will probably continue to sit in the truck. Another thing, I have an Ego blower that I completely forgot about. It's not that big, so fitting it in the bed shouldn't be a problem, but I'm gonna go ahead and put the vacuum in here and then just kind of see where I'm gonna stick the leaf blower. Okay, so the vacuum fits perfectly in this spot. I'm actually really happy about that. I was starting to get a little unsure if it was gonna fit, but as you can see, that's perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Packed from edge to edge. I do see where I'm going to be able to put the blower. So here is my Ego 670 CFM blower. It is absolutely fantastic. I actually came across this idea from Pan the Organizer. He's probably not the first person who suggested this, but because I watch his channel, this is where I got the idea from. And luckily, I found this at one of those clearance tool places for $140, including the battery and the charger. If you have a place that sells tools on clearance in your area, check there, because these things without the battery is like $200 or $300. The battery itself is like another 100 or 150 maybe. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. Okay, so with that, everything is nice and secure. I did decide to leave the polisher in here on top of the microfiber tiles just because it's so bulky and I don't really want it under the seat. So it'll probably stay there indefinitely. Fuel can in the back corner over there. The only thing I have to do is put my garden hose back in this corner. That's where that will live until I get a reel. I don't know if I'm going to get a reel for the garden hose because they're big and bulky. So it's not really necessary for this setup. Especially since if I do fill up my water at another client's house, they usually have a garden hose already. The garden hose that I have here is usually just for me to fill up here, you know, when I start my day. So that may stay here, but I definitely won't be getting a reel for it. It'll stay back there in a tangled mess, which is what it usually is. I will, however, be getting a chase rack for the back of the truck, and the chase rack actually has a storage shelf on top of it. So in the near future, these reels that I have now may go away, and I may mount reels to the underside of that chase rack. So it doesn't sit above the truck, but it sits below, but above the bed. And I'll switch out the 50-foot reels for 100-foot reels. Maybe not, I don't need 100 feet, but you never know. So that will free up some more space in here. And then maybe I'll consider getting a reel for the garden hose. But yeah, that's the plan, the chase rack. I'm not worried about blocking the rear window because the rear view mirror that I'm getting, it's digital. There will be a camera, and I'm probably gonna mount that at the back of the chase rack or on the end of the tailgate here where the current backup camera actually is. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how everything looks at its current setup. It's not clean. I have to go ahead and clean the truck now that this is done. So I'm gonna be able to get some firsthand use with the new setup. So that's it. Everything is set up. Everything is in the truck, nice and organized with the cover down. You can't even tell that there's anything in here. So next, I'm gonna go ahead and get this truck washed up because tomorrow I'll be ceramic coating it. And yes, I'm gonna record that process as well. So stay tuned and check out that video.